Welcome, beautiful buddies and gentlemen family. We're back here once again, reacting to Villa fans and other football fans' predictions for Paris Saint-Germain's second leg quarterfinal tag versus Aston Villa.
Talk to me, Nigel, about Aston Villa. A big win for them today against Southampton, who we know have really struggled in the Premier League this season. But that should give them confidence heading into that second leg next week against PSG, another huge game in the Champions League.
I mean, I understand the prop to Villa and all of this, but saying that a 3-0 victory versus probably the worst team in Europe's top 5 leagues in Southampton is going to give them confidence? What?
Can't lose to a side that's been relegated. We saw Aston Villa make some changes there. Onana came in, you saw Matson come in, Cash was taken off at half-time and he started again today. Again, they rotated their side, looking forward to the Paris Saint-Germain game. A side that Grella thinks it's over in that tie. He thinks that Paris Saint-Germain are going to walk through it. But what I did saw, for me, which was important, was Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins came on again and scored a fantastic individual goal. Simple ball of him running in behind. And why I highlight that, that's what I felt was something that was missing in the first leg against Paris Saint-Germain.
I do agree. It's not like we have struggled against a striker this season. It's that it would have been more, something more. But obviously Villa at the back went for the park the bus tactics. They could have played Rashford instead of Ramsey, I think, the left midfielder, and play Watkins up top, but they went for more defensive.
We didn't really stretch them. We were too negative, too deep. The outlet, and people might have criticised Marcus Rashford, but we don't know if that's what Unai Emery asked him to do, to sit so deep. But as much as there is showing teams respect, there's a line where you show them too much respect, which is what I felt that Aston Villa did in that first leg. As good as Paris Saint-Germain were, looking forward to Villa Park, they have to be a lot more aggressive, and I think there's a lot of players competing for starting places.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that. They against Southampton were more direct today. They went and go get the 3 points, obviously competing for European spots in England in the Premier League now. But when you play PSG, if I'm going to get into a fight with a guy who's a better fighter than me, you better believe that I'm going to use a weapon, I'm going to bite, I'm going to try something different. And I think Aston Villa has to do that. They have to be more direct. They can't play in a game of...
Let me just switch this to the center. Again, I don't understand what they're talking about. Or at least this guy, I don't understand what he's talking about. In the sense of... They tried. That was the game plan of Parc des Princes. It was, David versus Goliath. It was Aston Villa changing stuff, playing in a way that wouldn't suit PSG, but we still got the win. Like, that was the so-called dirty performance from Villa, and it still wasn't enough.
Of total football with PSG, because PSG are better in that department. So they have to be more direct. Put balls behind them, kick them. Don't let them feel comfortable. Kvaratskhelia, far too comfortable. Far too comfortable on the floor. Dembele doing whatever he wants. So they have to rattle them early, set pieces, balls in the box, balls behind. And, and maybe that's the only way you can get something from that tie. That obviously they're down 3-1 goal.
I mean, they tried a lot of long balls against us. We intercepted the majority of them. They can tackle us more. 100%. That goes for all, smaller teams against bigger teams. They can be more physical. They can frustrate our players, making the game more physical. 100%.
Going into it. But a team with a lot of physical power that can upset them, maybe if they play that way.
I think that what Grella makes a great point, because we discussed it as well about Onana starting today. For me, was a bit of an eye raiser as well, where he has to start midweek. He brings a different attribute in that midfield area. He's comfortable on the ball. He's a big physical specimen. He's also a threat for set pieces. So I expect Aston Villa to be a lot more aggressive at Villa Park. I still feel that they're in this tie. 3-1, they've still got a great chance. They've got a great world-class goalkeeper in Martinez. But I think in the attacking sense, they have to show a lot more bite, a lot more desire. Ollie Watkins would have been very, very disappointed not to start that first leg. This second leg, you expect him to start. And it just showed by his goal as well. His celebration of, grabbing the badge and, really showing that he wants to be at the club. The passion and emotion that he showed in that.
OK, so you think Villa still do have a chance? Can they actually beat PSG, though, Nudge?
I played at Villa Park in some great nights and great atmospheres and European nights. You can never rule them out. Like, this is going to be something that loads of generations of Villa fans have been waiting for, and the noise is going to be absolutely electric. I give them a chance still.
Is that a yes, though? You're sitting on the fence, Nigel.
I just said yes, I give them a chance.
OK, and they could go through and beat PSG?
They could beat PSG at Villa Park. I don't rule it out.
Grella, not for you?
I hope there's no gamblers out there. You're not gambling your savings away on this. I don't see it. I see a PSG side that rode Liverpool. I see a PSG side that's grown so much into the season. They're not the same team from the knockout stages. I see a team that is getting better. They've added Kvaratskhelia into that to give them a different look as well. I see a team with too much quality, and it could have been by more. And Aston Villa in the Champions League, they struggle with Club Brugge. They've struggled in the first leg of this one. When they have the football, they look a little bit slow, hesitant, sometimes even awkward, the two center backs when they're in possession. So I see PSG. I'd like to sell the Aston Villa. I'd love to, because we have one of their obviously their main men from back in the day here. But the reality is that the quality in the Champions League right now at this moment is too much. And the only chance, like I said earlier, is if they go long and direct and make it a terrible game for PSG, where they go, wow, we don't even want to be here anymore, and you got to kick them and put them in a match that's so intense that they've never been part of it.
Energy levels have to be high. It wasn't in the first leg. They have to have those high energy levels now in the second leg at Villa Park.
Well, Villa Park might be a fortress, Nigel. OK, well, we'll see how Arsenal...
Well, I guess, people are playing the same gimmick they played. At least versus Liverpool, we lost to them, so we went with, you could say, an unfavorable result. But, yeah, let's go to the next one. We got Nick RTFM, some Champions League predictions here.
This one is a little more interesting than people are giving credit for. I think Aston Villa were not ready for that first game. What ultimately has killed them is that last goal. If this was 2-1, I could hear predictions about saying, hey, Villa have a real chance here. They do. Villa Park is crazy. Look, when we saw PSG Liverpool, PSG still controlled the game. They still
Villa have a real chance if it was 2-1? What?
played really well when they went to Liverpool, but Liverpool still had a lot of chances. A lot of chances. So I think Villa will have chances in this one, whether or not they can get it done. The one thing you have to say about Aston Villa, they overperform a lot of the time. Emery does in big matches, and Villa this season have played very well against good teams in the Premier League. So I think they will be up for it. I just look at the PSG side of what they have shown me in the knockouts so far. They are.
I don't understand. Didn't he watch the first leg? It's the same thing I was telling the Liverpool fans. What do you guys expect from your players to suddenly get 10 times better? Just because they're going to play at home? What?
Are obliterating teams. The midfield is unbelievable, and they are spawn trapping teams. So for me to look at this and with what PSG have done, what PSG have created in the knockouts so far, I thought they were so unlucky against Liverpool to only be getting 1 goal. I mean, they had 10 goals against Brest. PSG already had 3 in the first leg. They could have had more. It's going to be hard for me to see PSG scoring less than 2 goals and Villa scoring like 4 or more, to even make it into extra time. So I am going to say, I think this one is going to be PSG. Ready for this prediction? We're going to go a little crazy on this one. PSG 3, Villa 2. I think Villa will actually give this one a game. You might see an early goal, but I think PSG will respond. I think they're too good. I think they'll get 6 goals total. We're going a little crazier on the prediction for that one. I think it's going to be a little bit more electric because you guys got to understand, teams like Real Madrid, and teams like, even Dortmund in this situation, and Villa, they all have to really go for it a lot more. Like Bayern only needs 1 goal, so those teams really have to kind of go out for it, and they're going to be playing very attacking, which is going to leave the opportunity for goals, and I think PSG will punish for some goals. So look, Real Madrid 2-1, Arsenal's going to advance.
Dub. We take that. We take that prediction. Moving on to the next one. A huge video here about the villains. Will Paris Saint-Germain crumble at Villa Park?
Hello and welcome back to The Villains. If you are new to our channel, make sure you are subscribing. Smash the like button. Let's try and have around 600 likes. And most importantly, comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. So what we're going to do today is a tactical breakdown of what I want to see from Aston Villa up against PSG. This is going to be a huge game for Aston Villa. Backs against the wall. A fantastic side coming to Villa Park. But Villa Park is a fortress, and we are very, very strong at Villa Park. We perform really well. We win a lot of games. We score a lot of goals. And it's going to be a difficult place for PSG to come to, and we've got to make sure that we are just so difficult to play against. I think Villa away to PSG, we wanted to stay in the tie. We wanted to bring the game back to Aston Villa. Had we have opened up and gone gun-ho and tried to attack at will and been really naive, we could have lost 4, 5, 6. The tie's out, and we come back to Villa Park, and it's a bit of a dead rubber, just like Dortmund going back to their stadium against Barcelona. So it was important that we tried to bring it back to Aston Villa and Villa Park and give ourselves an opportunity. So I think from a Villa point of view, I really want to look at this setup from Aston Villa of what we can expect and maybe what we don't expect, because I am going to put something in our team that is so left field that for me just suits what I want to see. Whether Emery does it, probably not. He'll probably go with something that we've seen before. But when I'm looking at this PSG side, and I'm looking at central midfield with Vitinha, we're looking at Neves, we're looking at Ruiz, controlling the game in that middle of the park. Hakimi attacking down that right-hand side. You've got rotations with Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Doué, in that central zone, completely rotating, moving around. If Villa go with the exact same setup that we saw against PSG away from home, I feel like it's not going to be enough. I feel like we need a disruptor. And I think when I look at this PSG side and the plaudits that they're getting in Europe, it's that they are one of the favourites. They are going to get to the final. They can potentially win it. And they've got a real good way about playing. But what can we do to disrupt it? And there's a couple of aspects within Aston Villa that can disrupt PSG. Number one is that get an early goal, just like we did away from home. We've shown that we are capable of scoring against this PSG side. Nobody can deny that. We are capable of scoring. The move that came...
And I'm trying to think what would happen if Villa scored early on. I would still be calm. It depends on like how the goal is scored, or Villa having momentum leading into that goal. I would obviously expect a quick reaction. But obviously when it comes to, making a comeback, an early goal is, one of the best stuff you can get, apart from a red card or something.
Came down that right-hand side, came across the pitch, crossfield ball into Morgan Rogers. We've shown that we can score. Now, PSG coming to Villa Park, being really comfortable, playing their way, playing their style, being 2 goals up. It's comfortable. It's them in their motion. Disrupt it. Put them under pressure. Ask questions. Take them to a place that they don't normally go to. Take them to a place that is uncomfortable. Take them to a place where they question things. They question positions on the pitch. If it's all too easy and too nice and too simple for PSG to play their football, then we're going to have massive problems. There's no denying that man for man, they are a better team. But in football, it doesn't always work. Like, you are the better team. This team will always beat this team. In football, it's so wild how different permutations can happen. So, for me personally, I really want to see Villa coming up with a tactical tweak that asks massive questions and PSG struggle to deal with it. And what you'll find is that in football matches sometimes, if there's a situation or a scenario or something that they can't deal with, sometimes over the course of the game, it's quite difficult to adapt to it. It's difficult to plan for something that you don't expect to happen. You look at Villa over the course of the whole season, you can pretty much predict the system based on personnel. So Luis Enrique can analyse Aston Villa and he can go, this is what Luke Dean will do, this is what Cash will do, this is what Rodgers does, McGinn does, this is how Tielemans... But if you do something that's different, you can't plan for it. So I want a game state action within this game that PSG really struggle to deal with and questions get asked. And if we go 1-0 up and the pressure's on, because the pressure will be on PSG. If PSG go 1-0 down at Villa Park, there will be huge pressure. The crowd, the atmosphere, it's intense. And you'll get PSG fans that will say, but we've been to Anfield. Villa Park is completely different to Anfield. Completely different. And if we get into that one goal situation, then they will find out for themselves what it's like. So take them to a place where they question themselves, where it's difficult, where it gets intense, and stick it on them. And that's all I ask from this Aston Villa side. So I'm going to predict the lineup of what I would go with, and then we'll take a tactical look at a few things that I feel like will happen in this game, because I got a lot of it right the first time. How Villa defended in a 6, in a 5, transition, etc. PSG shape. So we'll go from there. So we'll go with
Okay, so I just want to go through that disruptment stuff he's talking about. Because it would have to be, like, Villa would have to do something no team has done against us this season, which is make us look uncomfortable. Because that's, for me, the dangerous side with Paris Saint-Germain is we don't play in one style. For example, I don't know. Madrid are not good with the ball. Madrid are not good winning back the ball. So if you play high press and are a good possession side, that's not a good thing for Madrid. They will struggle even more. The thing with this Paris Saint-Germain side, we don't play one way. We can play every single way. We can sit back and play counter like we did at Anfield. We can have high position and a high line like we did recently against Aston Villa. So I don't really know if Paris Saint-Germain can be put in a place like that. I think the only way you can beat Paris Saint-Germain is either, have as much quality as us or more, which is impossible, or you are like an elite counter-attacking side and very clinical. So that's why I'm looking like at a team like FC Barcelona. I think FC Barcelona, we can have pressure, we can have possession, but then pop one counter, Yamal, Leva, Rafinha, pop, goal. I think that's the only way you can beat this PSG team, or that we beat ourselves by making stupid mistakes, by missing chances and so on. But even when it comes to making mistakes, we rarely, pretty much never do mistakes because of the opposition. For example, Araujo's red card last season, that was a mistake due to the opposition, how PSG were playing. It's more just our players, fucking up. So I don't even think like the pressure at Villa or them going 1-0 up will lead to us playing more pressure. I would say for this upcoming game, one thing that could go against PSG is arrogance. Our players could go into this game too arrogantly, too comfortable. Maybe, some ups and downs in the beginning of the game, but I still think we'll, finish off as the winners in the game at the end of the day. But, yeah, arrogance, potentially, not taking our chances. Like, the only way PSG can go out is basically themselves. That's how good they are. But let's see.
World's best in goal, Emi Martinez. Left back, we are going to go with Digne. We'll go with Pau. We will go with Disasi. And we will go with Konsa. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because out wide, in these areas, with Doué, Barcola and Kvaratskhelia coming inside, rotations, moving around this back line, we have to make sure that we are tactically aware of that. But they can hurt us when it's Hakimi and Doué, or it's Kvaratskhelia and it's Mendes, and they're attacking there, and it's a 1v1, or it's a 2v1, etc. We've been dragged out of position. Who is the best 1v1 defender at Aston Villa? And it is this man. 1v1 defending is the best one we've got. So if...
Okay, I don't know enough about Konsa, but he could be. I don't know, maybe. Is Cash that... I mean, yeah, Cash got cooked.
Their main threats come from out wide. So Kvaratskhelia, Doué, Barcola, Dembele drifting, Hakimi, Mendes. We have to have our best 1v1 out there. What that will enable us to have as well is 3 out-and-out centre-halves who, at times, when we're defending in this shape through here, we will have Digne, Pau, Disasi, Konsa, 3 centre-halves, central, that are used to defending centrally. We're not asking Konsa to be up and down here. This is not the game for a right-back to be going up and down, in my opinion.
But my question then is, if Villa are going to sit back like they did again at the game at the Parc, yeah, that could be a good thing. But it's not going to be that many 1v1s. It's more going to be us exploring the space in behind. So you want more quick and natural players that know their position. Like, we're probably going to start with Brady Barcola on the left side. He's not going to look to cook Konsa. He's going to look to make runs in behind Konsa, which he will do with ease, especially with Disasi on that flank as well. But okay.
We need to be strong, solid. We need to have solidity at the back. We need to be compact, organised, defend well, and have traps in these areas through here. So that is the back 4 that I would go with. We're then going to go with Kamara. I'm sticking with what I said in the first game. I do not want him going over there and screening a defender. If we play Matty Cash, you're going to ask Matty Cash to go forward. He's going to be going high. That will then mean that Boubakar Kamara has to come in and screen and cover this right back that's gone forward. I don't want it. And the reason why I don't want it is because even if we do get into that advanced area, do we have the quality? And I don't think the quality's there. So for me, it's Kamara, it's Tielemans, it's Rashford out wide. So Rashford on the left. Rashford can drop, can cover, can defend well, but once he gets the ball on that left-hand side, he's our outlet to dribble into...
I don't know if he can drop and defend well. Probably he had less instructions, like defensively against PSG, but it was just an average, Rashford jogging session.
Central spaces to go to the byline, to go inside the box. He's got that quality that can hurt this PSG side. Rashford up top with his back to goal, pressing from the front. I don't think he's that player, but Rashford off the left is absolutely perfect for me. So I'm going to go with Rashford on the left. Up top, I'm going to go with Ollie Watkins. He's going to be the one.
Yeah, there were some moments where Rashford could have been threatening. I remember when Beraldo got sat on his ass on that left side. He didn't lead up to anything, but Rashford could definitely be a threat.
That will be leading the line for me. The beauty of having Watkins is that when PSG have their 3 defenders, so we can talk about Marquisio, we can talk about Pacho, and we talk about Mendes when they're making that back 3. Watkins, Rashford, willing runners. Rashford gets his head up, finds Watkins running into a channel, and we can start to stretch. Unlike the game at PSG, we rarely got into that area where the striker was being able to stretch. This is where my system comes into its own. Rodgers on the right, and this is absolutely wild, but hear me out. Onana, right? I've not gone mad. Onana. And what this means is Onana will be dropping into that midfield 3. So where we've got Vitinha, we've got Neves, and we've got Ruiz, we'll have Onana, Tielemans, and Kamara. What Villa are going to do on goal kicks is we're going to go long. We're going to go long. We're going to look to go into channels. But what can be that game state difference that PSG struggle to deal with? Physicality, height, aggression, and power of Onana. It's absolutely wild.
Okay, in terms of long balls, 100% that could help. Because I remember some long balls being played. Rodgers, I think Nuno did a good job on that. Rashford was like mostly against Pacho. It was very tough for him. But if you put more Rashford in the space, I don't know how good Watkins is aerially. I think Pacho would still dominate him. But if you put Onana there as another one, obviously Pacho cannot be marking 2 or 3. Then Marquinhos, we're expecting him to have a good game. This could be a good strategy, getting out of the ball and, having some good chances.
But it's a tweak that I think enables us in central midfield to have 3 solid midfielders, but also have that height to be able to pump it long when it's needed. And we've got that powerful runner in there as well. When Onana came on against PSG, and when he's been playing against Southampton, he's been playing for Villa recently, he has looked unbelievable. He has looked so much better, and I want him in this team. What you'll find with this situation as well is once Onana drops, so Onana drops through here, you'll have Rodgers that can then go and help press. We'll have two in midfield with Onana, Rodgers up top, Rodgers getting into these areas as well, carrying the ball, setting these little traps. We've got pace that we can just pump it long. But also what we need to do in this game is we need to be clever with where we send the ball when it's going long. Don't just pump it long. Don't just aim for it aimlessly for the sake of trying to hit a striker or hit a player. Have an area, have a zone that the Villa players know the ball's going to go into. So once we've got a goal kick, maybe drift out here a little bit, create a little bit of an overload out here with Rashford and Watkins, and then what you can enable is Rodgers coming from that area as well. And then you've got midfield players as well that are able to go in there. So we'll put the Villa team now of positionally where I expect them to go and where we expect them to play. So we'll have that over there, we'll have a double pivot, and then we'll have that wide player out there as well. So the general make of it will be as well is that we are missing a blue, aren't we? So we're missing a blue from there. So the general make of what we've got is that when Bailey used to play in the starting line for Villa, you would have an asymmetric shape with Jacob Ramsey or this midfielder coming inside, Whitf will stay out wide through here, left back can bomb on and go forward as well. And if we just slightly tweak it a little bit and just switch it, so the Whitf is there, this player comes inside a little bit, we still get the similar sort of vibe, although we won't really need this player going too far forward either. So he can come inside at times and we can do that. That's the general makeup of what I want. In build-up, we'll have Concert, Disasi and Pau, and then we can have the team looking something a little bit like that as well. If this player does become Onana, or it will probably become McGinn, but drop it in there, we then don't have the overload in the middle, what we had away to PSG, because you'll have Vitinha, Neves and Ruiz. It's so important for me that we have three Villa players on these three players. It's crucial, absolutely crucial. What else you will see?
Again, I do think it's crucial. I do think it's something Aston Villa can do, but once again, why PSG is so dangerous is, yes, technically we play with three midfielders, but technically we don't. We play with more. Because Vicha Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele, if Desiree Doué starts in this game, are all very comfortable in midfield spaces and can drop deep. You also have Ashraf Hakimi that is bumping up. So even if you do that, you're just opening up more spaces then. Because if your midfield is focused on our midfield, that means your defense has to be focused on our attack, which is a 3v4. And you don't want that. You don't want Dembele in those spaces with no midfielder shaping out the defense. So, I mean, yeah, Aston Villa in this game definitely have to take a risk. They have to play high risk, high reward. It can work for them, but it can also not work for them.
Is that we will be in the same mindset as before when we are defending. We don't have to rush. If we scored at half time or the 60th minute, it's not gun-ho. Like I said earlier, we'll see the team looking like this, and then you'll get Rodgers that can go in there and make up a back five. You could get Rashford, etc. out there. You've got a double pivot. You've got midfielders through there as well, and then you've got your striker as well. So those areas will be crucial because the wide players as well can come and help support and are able to defend the box well. But I think when we get into this shape, having three core central midfielders that are in between those lines that are able to disrupt and break up play, and if we can win the ball back in here, win it, boom, he's off, and he's off. Our three outlets are Rashford, Watkins and Rodgers. And we've got that solid base of being able to compete in the middle of the park. I think it's just so important. So this is the lineup that I've picked. It's wild, it's rogue. But I have the belief that if we do the same as what we did away, I just don't see us posing the correct amount of problems. I think tactically we can position ourselves a little bit better at times, but we need to be good on the ball. And I think being good on the ball against PSG is having a solid base and a driver in there, somebody like Onana, who's a powerful runner from here. We've got powerful runners out wide. We've got ball carriers out wide. But we need one in here to break through and burst through. And I think it's Onana. I really do. Some of you may completely disagree with my team, but I think you'll get where I'm coming from about what we need to do to disrupt it. So there's my team. And again, set pieces, it's huge. If we can capitalise on set pieces, you saw Donnarumma flapping, coming out, flapping, palming away. So that's where I'm at. I'm happy, comfortable with us defending. I thought against PSG in the first game we defended very well. Yes, we conceded 3 goals, but they are 2 worldies and a really good, well-worked line-splitting breaking goal that Mendes scored. So, that was really well worked. But again, limit the shots from distance. If they're going to score a worldie, what can you do? Sometimes you have to hold your hands up. But this is going to be a great occasion and we should still be respected. And I think for the most part, we are respected. So hopefully it's a good game, a great occasion. And yeah, just a little bit of a short, sharp, sweet one for me. Obviously, I've been really busy creating content on Up the Villa over the weekend with, you know, the Southampton content. And I really wanted to get a little bit of a tactical piece in here for you as well. So, you know, a lot of you have really been enjoying this content on this channel. It's a brand new channel. And
Well, those are pretty much the thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I agree with him. For Villa to do something, they have to play differently. They have to play more direct, long balls. Very easy way to do that. Having a player like Onana in more attacking areas, winning aerial duels, being quicker, just being a bit more open. And that's the thing. Aston Villa didn't cause any trouble against PSG offensively in the first leg. And that has to be the main difference. PSG will always give you problems defensively, even if you're sitting back, as we saw. So Aston Villa just have to do that. Obviously, that will open up more chances for PSG. Aston Villa will have to pray that Martinez saves them. We miss the chances. Their defense does well. And, you know, they can nick a goal here and there. The pressure of Villa Park and so on. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. Moving on to the next one. JSM with his usual prediction here. Let's do this.
Close to being done, but it's not quite there yet. I think we've seen another game in this week's competition, in these quarterfinals, that is definitely done. But this one isn't done yet. I think Aston Villa really frustrated PSG at times. At just one point, they just were really, really struggling to get through. Yeah, they were creating the chances. I thought Dembele was really, really quiet. But obviously, credit to Kvaratskhelia, Kadewere. Those two had absolute field days. I thought Vitinha, I thought Neres in the midfield was absolutely exceptional. I thought Fabian with his ball over to Kvaratskhelia for the second goal was an absolute peach of a ball. I thought the defence was decent. The new lad coming in to replace Marquinhos had a good game. Not sure I can remember his name off the top of my head, so apologies. Paco had a good game as well. I'd say Mendes and Hakimi are arguably the best left back and right back in the world right now. That's how good they were. Hakimi had that run for the centre forward when Kvaratskhelia scored the goal that literally took defenders out of the game to allow Kvaratskhelia to be one-on-one with Axel Disasi and stick him on his backside, and that just created a little bit more space for the goal. That's your right back, running in the striker position. That's one thing I don't get about PSG. They're so good. Arguably the most informed team in the world right now, playing so well. Their atmosphere, they've got 3 sets of ultras at the Parc des Princes. I don't know if you guys have been. It's so intimidating. They've got the upper and lower tier behind the goal, and where you guys sit in the away end, they've got another section in the opposite stand in the upper tier, and they're the ones that goad the away end, and they're pretty ruthless, them lot. And it gives a great atmosphere at the Parc des Princes, and oh my goodness me, that noise when that Kvaratskhelia goal went in was just absolutely extraordinary. Like I said before, it's close to being over. I think that third goal was really rubbed salt in the Aston Villa wounds, and I think PSG were good for that goal. A lot of people online saying, oh, it was harsh on Aston Villa, this, that, and the other. I think that was quite a fair scoreline, 3-1, and it could have potentially been more. I think it would have been a lot better for viewing purposes and for Aston Villa if they come out with a 2-1 defeat. I think they would have taken that, but that goal very late on for Nuno Mendes has really rubbed salt and given, it's not Everest, but it's Kilimanjaro. It's going to be something very special needed for Aston Villa to be able to overturn this one. And I don't know what the chances are like. I think PSG are going to go through at the end of the day. But if Aston Villa score first, especially in that first half, a moment from Rodgers, I don't know. I was pretty interested as well with Aston Villa's team selection. The fact that Asensio didn't start with the form that he's in. Marcus Rashford leading the line and Ollie Watkins being dropped on the bench. No Daniel Marlon after his goal against Nottingham Forest. I was quite surprised that McGinn led the line at Cam. I thought Rodgers would play at Cam, Asensio on the right, Rashford on the left, Watkins up front. I was pretty much banking on that team to play. But it was Ramsey on the left, Rodgers on the right, McGinn at Cam, Rashford up front. And for me, I think Good Evening got that one wrong. Even though they took the lead, and I know PSG sucker you in and just keep the pressure on top all the time. Pressure, and they don't let you have the ball, and when they do, they win it back, they nick it off you. Cash was booked very fast in this game. Konsa made a mistake, Kvaratskhelia stole in, and Cash had to foul him and got a subsequent yellow card for a tactical foul. And the fact that he came off at half-time for Axel Disasi, I believe that was the fact that he was on a yellow card. I don't think there was an injury, and again, I think Good Evening got that one wrong. Even though the fact that he was on the yellow card, Kvaratskhelia was being contained quite well from Matty Cash, and he was not getting a lot of joy on that left-hand side. Even though the goal from Doué came on that left-hand side, but it was Rodgers coming out to close down the Frenchman. What a talent he is, by the way. I think Good Evening got that one wrong, taking off Cash and not playing, in my opinion, Villa's most potent attack. And we're going to have to see how Good Evening lines up in the second leg. And I really do think if they line up with Ramsey, Rodgers, McGinn, and Rashford, I think they're going to get beat. And I think they're going to get beat quite badly. Because what this game is going to be is PSG are going to still want to go at Villa. But this time, instead of sitting back and getting a decent result away from home, Villa are going to be wanting to go at PSG. And that could potentially be one of the worst things that could happen for Aston Villa. They go up toe-to-toe with arguably the best team in the world right now, with some of the best youngsters in the world right now, with a team that doesn't allow you to have any possession and wins that ball back like 11 Barcelona. They're 2 to the ball. They want that ball back as quick as they lose it. Yes, if they're a little bit killer up front a bit more and slip that, there was a bit of a final ball issue for PSG, I thought they could have scored a lot more than what they did. And if they get that sorted out, they're going to barge barge 6s and 7s past everybody. They are that good, PSG. And I think if Aston Villa go at them toe-to-toe, I really do think they're going to be in trouble. So here is my prediction. I do think Aston Villa are going to have to go for it. They've got to find 2 goals minimum. And I think that's going to allow lots and lots of space for Kvaratskhelia to run on that left-hand side, for Dembele, for Doué. He's going to obviously be starting. Will Asensio start again against his old club? I don't know. I think he should have started originally, but that's just my opinion. I think Aston Villa are going to get beat at Villa Park yet again by 3 goals to 1. I think the same scoreline.
The prediction. I like the comparison he made to 2011 Barca when he came to pressing. But yeah, a lot of valid points. Knowing that, you know, the game is not over, but saying that Villa will push for it, go toe-to-toe, and that will get Paris Saint-Germain exactly what they need. Let's move on to the next one. Blue, this was recorded straight after the PSG game. Aston Villa will believe they can beat PSG at Villa Park.
We'll have a 2-goal deficit to make up at Villa Park in next week's second leg against PSG in the Champions League quarter-finals. It was a sickener, really, that 3rd goal. I do think that if Villa were 3-1 down on the 60th minute and it finished that way, maybe we'd have different feelings, but to come so close to only having 1 goal to make up next week's second leg, that would have been a much easier task. It's easier, that's maybe not the right word to use, but I suppose it would. It'd be more manageable, shall I say, the tie. Only having 1 goal to claw back in front of your home fans at Villa Park, but that isn't the case. 2 goals because Nuno Mendes scoring late on 2nd minute, 3 minutes added time. Real body blow for Villa because I actually think the game plan worked as well as it could have, to be honest, at least for the most part, because 2 pretty sensational goals from Desiree Doué and Kvaratskhelia. I hope I don't have to say his name too much in this video. I probably will have to. What a player he is. Yeah, 2 great goals from those 2 players. Turned the game on its head after Morgan Rogers scored in the 35th minute, opening the scoring. Tielemans putting the ball across for him. But really, that only tells like half the story of that goal, because it was great work from McGinn, who I thought was outstanding on the night. Taking pressure off his teammates, offloading the ball well, finding the right times, very forward. And then offloading the ball to Rashford in this specific move. Rashford by Tielemans go forward. Tielemans had to pick his moments as well, as did all the players, to be fair, that were camped in the front half for most of the game. And that's because the game plan was as such to soak up pressure and strike when you can. And that's exactly what they did. To say to open scoring 35th minute, and then actually you want to get to half time then and be leading a quarter of the way through the time. That's not something that I think anyone would have been expecting. And that wouldn't be the case because Doué's gets an goal from the edge of the box, which levelled the game. Martinez, nothing he could do about that. I haven't seen Kvaratskhelia goal back. Presumes I think much Martinez could do about that either. You need to just slam into the roof of the net. Martinez on Instagram saying that, you know, this isn't over yet, we believe we can still do it. Not to those words specifically, but something like that. A few of the Villa players came out saying the same thing. So yeah, there's still be belief. We'll talk about what Emery said in a bit. Yeah, feelings of it feels a bit bitter now because of that 3rd goal, and to say the time in which it was scored. A lot of people may have thought, well, as long as you keep it respectable, we'll take Villa Park, you've got time in your hands still. And that is definitely the case, but I think what we're seeing from PSG is that, yeah, that Liverpool game weren't no fluke. This is just a top team, and yeah, I mean, Liverpool lost 4 or 5 at the Parc des Princes when they played.
Yeah, I loved when he said that. Liverpool game wasn't a fluke. That's I think what people have to start doing is watching other teams when talking about them. Because I remember him and his friend, it was mostly his friend, they were talking a lot of stuff, Liga and Farmer League. This is a small purple patch. They were ass in the group stage in the beginning and all of that. Just watch. Like, I watched Liverpool, I watched... okay, I didn't watch Villa. I didn't need to watch Villa to understand the quality disparity between the 2 teams. But watch other teams and don't undermine the league. This is something a lot of Premier League fans have. Paris Saint-Germain at the moment, unbeaten in their league. If you told me a team was unbeaten in their league, I would be like, okay, this is a serious team. This is a serious team. I wouldn't say, yeah, League and Farmers League. Yeah, I don't care. We'll smack them because we're 5th in the Premier League.
Against Luis Enrique sides, that wasn't the case because PSG didn't find their shooting boots, but they pulled them out cupboard for today, of course. And yeah, got the goals. But again, even then, you know, it was 2 until the 92nd minute. And I actually thought the PSG decided to almost take a foot off the gas, I suppose. After that 2nd goal, not just after it, but it was about 10 minutes spent afterwards when Kvaratskhelia scored that they were pushing for that 3rd. They didn't get it, and I think, I put in my blog, PSG not taking so many risks now to get that 3rd goal. I think they were happy to sort of settle for a lead.
No, when it was 2-1, I remember straight after the goal, the game was very open for like 5 to 10 minutes because PSG were trying to get the 3rd, Villa were trying to, you know, make a reaction, and then it died out because I felt PSG... And it was mostly Villa also still parking the bus, like accepting a 2-1, just disgusting football. But it was also the PSG fearing to, you know, lose that 2-1 win as well. That's how I, as a fan, was feeling. I was slightly more worried about conceding a goal and making it 2-2 than me wanting a goal to make it 3-1.
To take to Villa Park, very wary about going there with only a 1-goal advantage, but equally an advantage needs to be there for them. You saw how much Luis Enrique celebrated that. third goal that was scored by Mendes, and yeah, so that's why it's so frustrating, because Villa looked pretty comfortable at that stage to take it to Villa Park with only a 1 goal deficit. Yeah, it wouldn't be the case. That's why it's so disappointing, because it felt like it was there, and I think we all sort of, the fans in the away end and all those watching at home as well. I think everyone probably thought, you know what, when this full-time whistle blows, we're not going to be happy to lose a game, of course not, but it's one of those, take that and move on, can't wait for Villa Park next week, beat Southampton first, of course. But now, yeah, Southampton's going to be one to boost morale and confidence. And by the way, as soon as kick-off comes at Villa Park, it's going to be lively, it's going to be chaos, like Villa, and that's what Villa will need and what they'll thrive on, I'm sure. However, it feels like they could go 3-0 in the game and lose 4-3, because this PSG team is just so electric going forward. But at the same time, I mentioned before the game, actually, there's no shame in that. This PSG team are probably the best side left in the competition, in truth. And if you do lose the eventual winners, then again, there's no shame in it. And Villa have been so in this competition already. This is me riding off that second leg. But I do think, a bit of balance required, of course. Top 8, 6-1 defeating Bruges in the round 16 and coming up against the top team in PSG. It's always going to be a huge risk that way.
That's a thing a lot of people have said after facing us. Oh, we lost to the eventual champions. Oh, we lost to the best team in the world. And it is true. It is true. I think most football fans still don't rate PSG as much as they should rate them. They rate them, but not as highly as they should. But then when their team eventually faces them and they see their team having the worst game of their night, I remember Villa fans saying, I can't remember the last time we had 29 shots against us. I can't remember that. Those 2 goals scored against us were 2 of the best I've ever seen against Villa. This PSG team is definitely special. And whether we go on to win the Champions League or not is not even the most important thing. The most important thing is, footballistically, this is one of the best teams I've seen.
Yeah, just the third goal was just a blow. Anyway, Emery said after full time that he's still got belief, and actually that third goal doesn't change the idea, the belief, the plan that they're going to have for that second leg, because he said, well, if it's 2-1, and that's what we thought it was going to be, we're still going to have to win the game. And yeah, Villa and I will have to score another goal. But I guess if you do get one and you're leading, you've got your tails up then, haven't you? And I do think there's a lot of belief among the Villa dressing room. We're going to have options to change if they need to. So if come the 60th minute there's only 2 goals, well, there's every chance that can happen, because PSG, the way that they were playing that, mentally that's a test for them.
Again, I don't even know if the players have belief. I think they want to go through, obviously, 100%. I think the same for the Liverpool team and Liverpool players. But I don't think they had the belief in them. I think after the first game versus PSG, despite Liverpool winning that game, I think the belief was barely there, because they saw how good the PSG team were. Like if you're an athlete, if you're a competitor, and you face something not just that beats you, anyone can beat you on a lucky day or something, but that dominates you in that way, that plays a football you have never probably faced before, you lose all of your confidence. I think the Liverpool, Aston Villa players are like, yes, we're going to go to Villa Park. Let's have a belief. But deep down, it's very hard for me to believe any of those people believe of a comeback. Or, you know what? They can get a Fugazi comeback. It's more the belief that we're going to outperform this PSG team. Or, yeah, it's delusional.
So I do. In parts as experience, but I'm looking at Vitinha, João Neves, even Kvaratskhelia, not really playing this competition too much for Napoli. Other players as well, not really that experienced at this stage, and of course some players have more experience than the Villa ones, but this is Villa Park and it's going to be really powerful, I'm sure. After the game, Matt Cash saying that Emery said at full time that this is only half time in the tie, and again, all you can do is keep your spirits high, keep morale high, because again, this is a situation where Villa, Emery said himself, maybe we expected this sort of scoreline before the game, so I don't think this is something that's going to blindside them, and I'm sure he's already planning or has had a bit of an eye on that second leg, as such about what could happen, what could they do if they are losing, because I think it'd be silly to plan for playing a second leg at Villa Park, having won against PSG. I don't think anyone expected that, even the most ardent Villa fans or Emery himself, so we'll see what happens there. Going back into the game a little bit, Cash of course was taken off at half time. The Sassy came on, not really his best game again, right back, again turned inside out by Kvaratskhelia, and who wouldn't struggle against that player? He's an incredible talent. Dembele early on had a shot, Martinez saved, but Martinez I think had a decent game. Obviously all the attention and focus was on him, but keeping a clean sheet against that team would be probably one of his career highlights. Not career highlights, and too much in his career for that to be a highlight, but you get where I'm going with it. It would be like Alisson was for Liverpool, kind of one of his best performances of his career, I suppose. And from Villa's perspective, they're going to pick themselves up now. And I don't mean that in terms of they're going to be on the floor and it's going to be they're all going to be disconsolate. I don't see that. I think the bus will be on the way back and flying back home. I think they'll be uplifted by the fact that they've just gone essentially toe to toe with this team, and in the terms of it's taken 2 pretty special goals really for PSG to turn the tie around, and on another game, on another day, we'll come out of here with potentially a result, or at least not a significant margin of defeat as it is now. For that reason, I think they'll take positivity and think, well, actually, Villa Park, Villa didn't really test PSG's back line apart from a couple of occasions, one of which they scored in. But I think they'll be a little bit infused actually that, well, we really didn't lay much of a glove on them, but when we did, gaps started to show. So now with a different mentality of rather sitting back and defending, Villa go for the juggler, throw the kitchen sink at them from the get-go, and we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll crumble. We don't know that yet. They haven't played at Villa Park. Has any PSG players played at Villa Park? Don't know. Good question. I don't think they probably have. But those Villa players.
Yeah, and all of this about PSG losing their head or something. Yeah, look, there have been more experienced PSG teams. There's been more experienced football teams than this PSG side. We're still experienced though, mostly because of our manager, Luis Enrique, extremely experienced. And this team, it's not like he has no experience. He still has experience, obviously can get way more experience. But we're playing against Aston Villa, who have no Champions League UCL experience. We're playing against the Aston Villa team, who has no Champions League experience. So you have to have it to be able to... It's like Madrid. Madrid, when we lost them in the knockout stages recently, you could say it was experience or something. Or it was mentality. More mentality than experience. We had Messi, Neymar, very experienced players. It was more about mentality when we lost to Madrid. But that's because Madrid had more mentality than us. I don't think this Aston Villa squad has that above PSG.
Players will be well aware of the power in Big Six. So that's something to look forward to still. Just a shame to say the third goal is it's a bruiser, and one which I think hopefully we'll be able to get over and think with kind of fresh impetus and with new.
Well, that was it for this reaction. Let's go to the next one. SPN FC. Will PSG ease into the Champions League semi-finals with another win versus Aston Villa?
And the big factor is Villa Park, Unai Emery, big Champions League night or European night. And after the game, he seemed very confident that they might be able to come back. You weren't happy though, because Villa's basically your second team for whatever reason.
I like Villa. I think that third goal was a killer, and it really frustrated me because I just thought you're 2-1 down against arguably the best team in the Champions League this year. First of all, let's just speak about PSG, who were absolutely unbelievable in the night. So electric, and we've all said all season that football's getting a little bit more boring. They are the antidote to that. They've been so exceptional to watch every time they've played, and their wingers were just unbelievable. But I look at Villa, and I don't think that their performance was genuinely that bad. I thought John McGinn had a fantastic game. I think it was unfortunate that in the second half, Axel Disasi came on because I thought Matty Cash was actually playing all right. I don't know if it was injury or the fact that he got a booking that he went off. That changed the game a little bit. But I just felt for Villa, you're 2-1 down against a really fantastic team. You're going back to one of the best atmospheres in England. Why are you pushing anyone up? There was no need to push anyone up. There were 3 moments in that game from PSG of pure brilliance. Before the third goal, 2 moments of pure brilliance. Apart from that, I think Villa defended okay. Most of the balls that came in got cleared. They didn't really have any intention of keeping the ball. But at 2-1, they had such a genuine good chance of going through.
And I agree with that because we only had one big chance created the entire game.
They should have just completely shut up shop, and I don't understand why they attacked. And I think that third goal is a bit of a killer now because this PSG team are just lethal.
It was quite similar to actually the PSG game in Paris where Liverpool suffered. Really similar. But Liverpool never did what Villa did a couple of times. Not only that last scenario, but also a couple of times where Rashford got on the left, and they ended up with 5 players in the PSG box. And I was sort of thinking, Unai Emery of all managers encouraging this just didn't really feel right to me because obviously, like you just said, Villa Park under the lights, they score early. It's 3-2 or 2-2.
Yeah, well, they're also interesting because you mentioned Unai Emery and kind of like the tactical naivety. The last time that these two managers met was remontada when Emery was PSG manager and Enrique was the Barcelona manager. And Emery showed some tactical naivety at basically the end of his time at PSG. And we saw that last night. Emery European competitions is cash money, right? But you're so right, Kim. In the last minute of that game, there was literally no need.
Again, I don't know why I'm saying Emery European competition cash money. Emery Europa League cash money. Emery Champions League, no. But yeah, he definitely showed naivety.
You can see that goal from Nuno Mendes. The problem with Villa is that I think that their fullbacks are arguably the weakest part of their team. And if you look out wide for PSG, not only have you got Barcola when he starts, but you've got Desiree Doué, and you've got Dembele, and you've got Kvaratskhelia who will play out wide. Their fullbacks as well, Nuno Mendes and Hakimi, are 2 of the best fullbacks in the world. So it's almost impossible for Villa to do anything in terms of getting up the pitch. But yeah, Emery showed the naivety there. But I did pick up on what you said as well in terms of the confidence going to Villa Park. Villa have been very, very good there. I don't think they've lost a game at Villa Park since they lost against Arsenal near the beginning of the season, which shows you how confident and how strong they are at home. And under the lights, we've seen some big results this season. They need an early goal in the second leg. They need an early goal in the second leg. But look at this PSG team, like we've all talked about. They are one of the most exciting teams to watch, a breath of fresh air. And if they get a goal, get a sniff in that second leg, it might be too tough for Villa.
I think it's fair to talk about tactical naivety from Emery's point of view, but I do think at half-time they played an almost perfect game plan. The only reason that they weren't 1 goal up is because of a ridiculous goal. Like, let's get it right. And I think there's some blame that can lie at Emery's door, but I think you also have to consider when you're playing against a team like PSG, who have those 3 players up front who are basically all wingers, can all play on both feet and are incredibly quick, and you have a midfield that can pass it around that quickly, it's incredibly easy to get pulled out of shape. It's really, really easy because it's almost impossible to defend. Those wingers are impossible to defend. You always need to double up on them because you don't know what's going to happen. And it's very, very easy to leave massive gaping holes in midfield, which is what happened a lot. Like, they would have the 2 wingers very wide, and then every time they passed it in the middle, there was basically 2 midfielders there lining up for a shot. So I think we can blame Emery, but I think this PSG team just did what they do, which is completely mishmash the entire game, ruined any game plan that Emery had of keeping stable because of those quality players. And I think at 2-1, you can see a way back for Villa. You can see them scoring an early goal at Villa Park, and you can see them potentially being able to shut PSG out, maybe enough to get into extra time. But I just don't see how you overturn a 2-goal deficit against a team who has that much quality.
I think before we move on to PSG's quality, I think we should also potentially look at how Villa do find a way back into this, because they didn't start with Watkins in that first leg, which I felt made sense. You start Rashford, I thought he had a net positive game where he's picking the ball up. Sometimes he lost the ball, but playing on his own, sometimes brought players into the game, sometimes took his fullback or centre back on. Do you think that this time they go brave? Watkins through the middle, Rashford off the left, probably Morgan Rogers off the right, or do you still think they go same game plan as first leg? Because Kim's absolutely right, by the way. They were basically there and thereabouts after 44 minutes in the first half, and then obviously Doué scores a ridiculous goal. Otherwise, 1-0 to Villa, and you're going, that's a tactical masterclass.
Yeah, the bravery is in the personnel decisions. And why did Asensio not start? Like, I don't understand it. Asensio, in terms of the move in January, it's gone a lot better than most people expected. Scored so many goals. I get it's against his parent club, but I didn't understand why he didn't start.
I mean, if he scores and he puts PSG out, he's never going back to PSG, by the way.
But at Villa Park, I want to see Asensio start that game. Rashford, let's see. I think Ollie Watkins down the middle has to start. I don't necessarily love his profile as a striker in a big European type, but at Villa Park is different. You want someone who's going to be combative, somebody who's going to play against cliche, play for the badge. I think he'll do that a little bit more than Marcus Rashford. But it's going to be so tough for them, man. They need to be very, very brave in their approach to this game. But they're playing against the bravest team in Europe, and PSG. They're not going to be deterred at all. And Enrique just gives you the sense of, well, he's talked about it, right? These players all do what I want them to do. And in this post-Galactico era, there seems to be like a freshness around the PSG side. Everyone can follow instruction, despite the fact that Kvaratskhelia, I think, is a superstar. Despite that Dembele was a superstar, maybe heading back to that level. And Barcola and Doué are young emerging talents. They're all willing to do the running. And you need that in an Enrique side. And yeah, I think it's going to be very tough for Villa, despite the fact that they will be brave at Villa Park, but they showed they have been brave in previous Champions League games this season.
Yeah, I think Quaker's right. I think they're not going to control the ball and they're not going to keep PSG out. So the only way really that you can go into this is by trying to outscore them. That's the only way. With 2 goals behind, that's all you can do is just play your most attacking team, I think. Because it's worked in the Premier League. It has worked in every single game for the last few months for Villa, which is why they're in the position they're in. They weren't doing so well. They've been on a fantastic run of form, particularly since Rashford and Asensio have come in. And they need to be playing where they have been playing so well. So I think, yeah, all-out attack for Villa because they can't really rest on their laurels, not too behind.
And then obviously for PSG, I agree with both of you to some extent. I think there's got to be a push and pull, whereas in the first leg they were ready to suffer, and they did for long periods. But I just think with PSG, the pace that they move the ball at, like it's hard to watch and concentrate on where the ball is. Imagine how hard it is to be a centre back or a full back, and it's going left, it's going right. And the problem you've got is if it goes to Dembele, and this is the beauty of these wingers. Obviously they're brilliant dribblers, but I don't at any point feel like they choose to dribble at the wrong time. They don't just dribble for the sake of dribbling. They wait, and then they'll go, like the Doué goal. He realised he had Rodgers against him and said, "This is the one I can come inside of." He had Cash quite a few times. I just look at this PSG team and go, like, where is the weakness? Let's like dissect this team. Goalkeeper's brilliant in penalty shootouts, good goalkeeper. Fullbacks, you said, are two of the best fullbacks in the world. Yeah. Pacho eats the ground up, by the way. He's a monster. How do you stop this team? When you look at 11, it's ridiculous.
It's tough. I think a team may be more well versed in Champions League football if they went a goal ahead, managed to hang on or managed to get something out of the game as opposed to being 2 goals down by the end of it. But for a team like Villa who haven't got that much Champions League experience, what Rashford brings it, Asensio brings it, but beyond that, haven't really got it.
But then would you argue Liverpool had a lot of Champions League experience and PSG, and we said this I think in the video that we did after that game, that was a coming of age game for them.
Yeah, but Liverpool was so much worse, I think, if you take both legs into consideration, and almost went through. They went out the penalty shootout. Like, they were a lot worse than PSG. First leg should have been 2-3 to 3-0 PSG, but Liverpool, because they are experienced in Champions League, managed to find a way to keep it close. Whereas Villa, I think, played better than Liverpool in Paris, but ended up being 3-1 down. That's just that's the lack of experience. That's just something you need in Champions League that Villa don't have yet. Maybe they get it.
You could say it's experience, but I think it's more about clinicality. Because, for example, Alisson, he had a great game, but it was no shots he faced that was impossible to save. Martinez, unfortunately for him, it was 2 chances. It was no keeper is saving the Kvara chance. No keeper is saving the Desiree Doué chance. The Nuno chance, you can do better. The defense can, intercept the ball from going to Nuno. And the goalkeeper can do better. And the defense could do better. Those 2 goals are impossible. I don't even think it's experience. It's just more fortune that PSG didn't get that insane of a shot, which was impossible to save for the goalkeeper.
They're playing this competition. Arsenal have now seemingly got that. And so, despite the fact that they can make the second leg close, I think this is PSG's to win.
All right, score predictions, Kim.
Really tough. I think a 2-2, and there's no way that PSG don't score. And I think Villa will start well if they not get the first goal, but they're not going to go through.
I agree. PSG will get Villa will get the first goal, but PSG will end up winning the game 2-1.
I think PSG win 3-1 again. I think every time I've watched them so far this season, my jaw's been on the floor. Plus, I've just seen here, which I didn't know, but despite already winning the league, PSG have had their game against Nantes at the weekend postponed to give them a better chance of winning the tie. So they're going to be coming into this completely fresh.
Well, that's what we don't do in this country. We never protect our clubs in Champions League.
I think that's outrageous. I think that's wrong.
I think it makes sense. If you're worried about the coefficient and you want your league to be the best league in the world, you give your teams a better chance of beating the others. I think it's ridiculous.
I mean, I've already explained why that has happened. Why that happened was before the Champions League fixture versus Villa got announced. Ligue 1 had already announced that we were going to play Nantes on Sunday. Then, obviously, the game versus Villa was announced. It was going to be a Tuesday, and you can't play 48 hours, especially a Champions League game, like Sunday to Tuesday. It was impossible. I think we tried to reschedule it for Saturday, but that couldn't be able to be done, so we've postponed the game versus Nantes into the upcoming future. Again, I don't see anything wrong with this. This is just two different competitions setting dates that go against each other, and one of them has to change it. And obviously, it would not be the Champions League that changes it. It will be the league that changes it.
Do it in Spain, do it in
I think it's
France.
ridiculous that we don't do
I
it.
think it's wrong personally, but like I don't know. Listen, let us know in the comments if you think it's wrong, but I think it'll be 3-1 PSG.
Right, dub. One predicted 2-2. They said he was a huge Villa fan before the predictions as well. But yeah, those have been the predictions. Once, the arrogance, the hatred, the delusion around this PSG side has started to go down. I expected to go up, though, for the Arsenal tie in the semi-final. But look, for this upcoming game, Paris Saint-Germain need to have another at least 8, 9 out of 10 performance. I want us to win this game. I want us to perform very well this game. And hopefully Villa tests us. Hopefully Villa puts us under pressure. Hopefully Villa puts us in uncomfortable positions so I can see how my players react to that and get out of those tough, uncomfortable positions. But yeah, good predictions from everyone who watched. No deludedness. That has stopped after that first game. And yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez, Paris.